He's on. Hey,
There we are.
wait
That's
a
us.
minute. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, party people. Welcome to the Andy Mark Show. I'm your host, Andy Marks, and welcome to the first edition of the repurposed Mark Madness, because we were doing Mark Madness and it was a different thing. But now this is the originally intended purpose of Mark Madness. And I got people with me. Ladies and gentlemen. Introduce yourselves. We got Nonsense Steve here, Master Mod himself, and then we got Darkling. I'm just kidding. Darkling is a goat too. How you doing, buddy?
How's it going, everybody?
And Mickey, you got to introduce Mickey down there.
And Mickey,
Oh yeah, of course. Mickey is the reason why we're all here.
My boy Mickey, wearing the Rays shirt, of course.
Mickey is the reason that we are all here today. And
It all started with the mouth.
yeah, excellent segue. The reason why Mickey is so important is because, unless you've been living under a rock, we're doing Mark Madness today, guys. What that means is that myself, Steve, and Darkling, and you people are going to be helping us decide what is the greatest Disney movie of all time. We have 4 different divisions. We have the Golden Age of Disney, which is from 1940 to the Bronze Age of Disney, or the beginning of the Bronze Age of Disney, Steve?
Beginning.
The beginning of the Bronze Age, so like 1970, give or take. Then we're going to doing the Bronze Age to the end of the Renaissance era, which is pretty much 1970 to like 1999. Then we're doing the post-Renaissance era into the beginning of the post-Renaissance era into the current era we're in right now, right?
Yeah. It's
and
the
then
experimental
PIXAR.
era into the revival era. Those are the last 2.
There's gonna be some slaughterhouses in those, like in that Renaissance Bronze era and that post-Renaissance and like current era. There's gonna be some huge just slaughters.
The PIXAR play-in games are going to be interesting to me.
Oh yeah, that's right. We're starting off with that, correct?
Yeah. But we have 4 different regions. PIXAR, the Gold to Bronze region, which is the Golden Age, Wartime era, and the Silver Age. Bronze Renaissance, which is Bronze and the Renaissance. And then Experimental Revival is the Experimental era and the Revival eras. So movie eligibility, we went through basically over 100 films and had to narrow it down to where we're at right now. We have some play-in matchups because we've got 24 movies that ended up qualifying for the PIXAR region. Gold to Bronze is the only one that's done. They have 16 movies they're set. There's 17 movies in the Bronze Renaissance region and 20 movies in Experimental Revival. To qualify, a movie had to be in the top 30 for fans, critics, or Mark. And then we narrowed it down further based on overall ratings through Rotten Tomatoes. I've got hot links in there for all that stuff so you can see the math and how I've assembled all this. But we're going to start with the play-in. So we're starting at the very top.
We're seeing this all in real time, by the way. We haven't seen these brackets. We're finding out as we're going. So
the way that the regions were decided, like 1, 2, 3, 4, was the same as how the seeding was decided. It's all based off of the average rank from the tomato meter on Rotten Tomatoes. That's how this is all ranked out. So the number 1 region is the PIXAR region, which shouldn't be overly surprising. And we're starting right at the top in a complete and total bloodbath. For the first play-in, it's Toy Story 2 against Toy Story 4.
Oh.
All right, so should I put a poll up right now?
Yeah, go for it.
Oh, man. Oh, my God. So then Toy Story 1's playing Toy Story 3?
Yeah.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no.
Oh, losers in the chat saying that's easy.
Is it? Ah, man. Oh my God.
I'm
You have the
setting the
fucking
poll for
clips
5
and
minutes.
everything. You have the clips and everything. God, Steve, you're a fucking goat.
You could do it for maybe 2. I don't think we'll need the full 5.
I think I don't think so either. All right, so
Um,
you want to go first on this? Hey, Mark, it feels like you're ready to start.
I'm going. Ah, man. You see, what's the better movie, right? The better movie, and this is controversial. The better movie is Toy Story 4. What's more necessary is Toy Story 2. You cannot have Toy Story 2 with like you can't have Toy Story 3 without Toy Story 2, right? I'm going with fuck. You know what? You start. You start. You start. I need to think on
Are you
this.
talking to me or Steve?
You seem like you were ready to go.
So to me, this is an obvious choice. You can indeed have Toy Story 4 without Toy Story 2. I did not enjoy Toy Story 2 that much at all. To me, Toy Story 2 didn't add anything. We got Jesse and Bullseye. Jesse and Bullseye are easily two of the weakest characters to the Toy Story universe, in my opinion. Toy Story 4, we had a conclusion I didn't think we needed,
Mm-hmm.
because after Toy Story 3, I was like, this is perfect. Put this series to bed. It's amazing. Toy Story 4 was like, holy shit! Like they just upped the thing.
Let's go.
We had great characters like Duke Kaboom. Duke Kaboom is fucking amazing. Duke Kaboom is up here.
Yeah.
Jesse's down fucking here. All right, let's just be honest. She's down here.
Okay, so are we in agreement that Toy Story 2 is the worst Toy Story out of the Toy Stories?
By far, it's not even
Okay.
close for me.
Okay, so all right.
That's why when you said
I'm
this was
glad.
difficult, I was like, what?
Okay, so Toy Story 2 I think is good, but I do think that Toy Story 4 is a better movie. Yeah, like Toy Story 3, like spoiler alert, I think Toy Story 3 is the best one out of all of them. Now as far as between Toy Story 4 and 2 is concerned, yeah, I think I gotta go with 4 as well because I feel like 2, like what's his name? The Prospector was very underwhelming. The the Prospector was very underwhelming. Jesse's cool, Bullseye's cool, but like they don't really feel like they matter until like halfway through like 3. Like when she like becomes Buzz's love interest. So like yeah, I'm going with 4. I'm going with 4. Controversial as it may be.
It is controversial, just because Toy Story 2 was the #1 overall Rotten Tomatoes movie on the list.
What?
Wow.
So we're gonna knock it out first.
What?
But
you just sit on it. You gotta love Cinderella.
I will save my thoughts for Toy Story 4 for this second round we get into. But it is unanimous amongst the 3 of us, even though the fan vote is for Toy Story 2. We're going Toy Story 4.
Let's go.
Boom.
Okay. So then, of course, that brings us to the other one.
No.
Toy Story against Toy Story 3.
I'm going Toy Story 3. I think Toy Story 3 did an excellent job because like so I like to think of Toy Story 1, 2, and 3 as kind of one chapter. And then like because obviously we're getting a Toy Story 5 now. Like and then like 4 and 5 I like to think as like a separate chapter, right? Because like was Toy Story 4 necessary? No. But like Toy Story 3 I think did such an amazing job of wrapping up any kind of loose ends that they needed to do. Like they really did not need to make a Toy Story 4, but like they did. Whatever. It was great. It moved on. But like I think Toy Story 3 is a perfect way to wrap up a storyline, right? Like you got everything in there. Everybody felt important. You probably had the best like villain in the Toy Story series minus Sid because that kid was just a dick. But like Lotso was great. You had that death tease like towards
Right.
the end
Right.
as well. Like, and then you it felt like for my generation in particular, because I grew up with Toy Story. So when Toy Story 3 came out, I was probably like mid to late teens, probably a little bit younger, whatever. It felt like I grew up with Andy. It felt like I was saying goodbye to Andy. Like it felt like the end of an era for my childhood.
Mm-hmm.
So Toy Story 3 is always just gonna have like a special place in my heart. So I'm going with Toy Story 3.
Duckman, what about you?
Oh man, this one was tough for me. This was real tough. Toy Story 3 had, like I said earlier, probably the best send off of any franchise in ever. Maybe I don't
Yeah.
know if that's controversial to say. Him giving those toys to those little girls.
Oh,
If you didn't tear up when he did that,
so
then
long,
then
partner.
I then I think you kick animal.
Right.
Like, how's that for a hot take? You're I'm not saying you're a horrible person, but I think you hit animals if you didn't tear up for that. Toy Story 1 was so good. Like, it was just
It
something we've
is.
never seen before, though.
It
It
is.
was and it still gets quoted incorrectly, by the way, I might add, to infinity and beyond. People think that Buzz Lightyear said it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I believe he only said it like maybe once.
Yeah.
I mean,
And
that was
then
just like his. That's kind of just like his catchphrase, like for his toy. But, like
it's just
it was
to
just
me,
something he just said all the time.
to me, it's like, I guess it's Disney now, but to me, it's like the Darth Vader version of Luke, I am your father. It's
Yeah.
the Disney version of it. Like, it's
Yeah.
just said so much to infinity and beyond. But as far as character wise and depth, I did enjoy Toy Story 3 more. Um, I thought it was great. Like, it was a
Should
little
turn off my
swerve.
AC. I'm still listening though.
Yep.
It was a little swerve coming in there with you didn't know that Lotso and them were bad guys
Yeah.
until they got locked in the room and said, "You're not getting out of this fucking room. It's over."
Right.
So that was kind of a little swerve I enjoyed. Um, so it's to me, this question is between, do I go between respect for how it all started, or respect with how it almost ended. But I think Toy Story 3 was the better movie. I think I could rewatch Toy Story 3 more. I have a lot though around here somewhere actually. I'm gonna go I'm gonna go Toy Story 3. That's my vote.
Okay,
Let's go.
we're gonna sweep it again.
This one was difficult for me.
Let's go. Another
I
sweep.
think that it was interesting that these two are the ones that got paired up based on the rankings, because when you think
Yeah.
about it, it's Toy Story is what really started the entire franchise, obviously. But
Yeah.
then Toy Story 3 came over a decade later. So it was really reintroducing the series and kind of starting from scratch again. And then characters that were sort of introduced in 2, but also like kind of taken away. They came back in Toy Story 3. It was a whole like restart of the franchise. There wouldn't be a Toy Story 2 without Toy Story 1, but there wouldn't be a 4 without 3, because they kind of all
Yeah.
those it's almost two separate chunks of the
Yeah.
Toy Story franchise.
For sure.
But that puts us where we knew we were going to end up here. Toy Story 4 against Toy Story 3. And I will go first with my Toy Story 4 thoughts, because we didn't talk about that at all. But
Yeah.
we talked about how good Toy Story 4 is and how it kind of closed the chapter on Woody and his side story and how he's kind of evolved through the entire series. We didn't mention anywhere in there about Forky and him being introduced as the newest character to the series, and how they kind of went a different direction with just, Bonnie being more creative and more
Yeah.
resourceful in general, just using her imagination. Because the whole idea is it's you're playing with your toys, it's your imagination, but it's your
Yeah.
imagination come to life, basically. And she did that with an art project, and it turned into a main character of the series. So just that in general for me, I really enjoyed and liked. But
Yeah.
I think between these two films, I'm going to go with Toy Story 3 because, like we said, Lotso to me, easily the best villain across the entire franchise. And just the
Yeah.
whole building the arc from Andy to Bonnie just set it all up.
I think what also made Lotso really good too, is that like he never like had a moment. Like nowadays in a lot of media, you have a lot of villains that like it's almost like the new thing is to have a villain have a redemption arc
Mm-hmm.
or like be like a good guy in the end or be friends
Right.
with like the
Toy
good
Story,
guys.
Toy Story
Lotso
4 did
didn't
this
do
as
that.
well.
Yeah.
Lotso did not do that. Lotso said, "See you later." Like he was gonna help them out, and then he's like, "Nope, bye," and that was it. Like, so like, it's also refreshing to see a bad guy be a bad guy and stay a bad guy. You
Yeah.
know, so. But I'm sorry.
I love that he left them in the pit. So
Yeah, yeah. You said,
I,
you said.
just an absolute mob boss move. He was a mob boss.
Uh-huh.
That's what a mob boss does.
He,
A mob boss
he
doesn't say, "Oh yeah, you can come out." No, get in there.
no,
I'll
but
rebuild my dynasty.
the funniest part about the whole thing, sorry, is that they saved him.
Yeah.
They saved him, and then
And
he's
that's
like,
his
"All
repayment.
right,
He's like, "No, I'm good.
bye."
Thanks
Like,
for nothing." Yep.
yeah, that
The
was.
only thing that would have made it better is if they would have had like a fake Rex, and they would have showed Woody waking up next to a fake Rex head. Like, that would have been complete
Right?
mob boss.
Yeah.
But can we just for 1 minute? How great were Tim Allen and Tom Hanks in these movies
And the entire
Yeah.
franchise,
Mhm.
absolutely.
Like how much chemistry did they have
Right.
together, just playing off each other? It was so good. It was phenomenal. Um, I'm gonna go with Toy Story 4. I'm gonna stay with
Okay.
that.
Oh,
I this is gonna be controversial. I while I think Toy Story 3 had a perfect send off, Toy Story 4 to me was like a platform for what else can we do? We can separate Tom Hanks and Tim Allen now. We can see what Woody can do on his own. We can see
yeah,
what the other toys can do on their own if we want. We can have two separate franchises. And a lot of times when movies try to do stuff like this, it just goes pew.
Yeah.
yeah,
Whereas this one was fun. I enjoyed that. Again, I spoke on Duke Kaboom, one of my favorite characters. The redemption arc of the villain in Toy Story 4. I know we said we like the villains that stay villains.
Mhm.
yeah.
What was her name? Shit,
Uh,
completely forgot
yeah,
her
I'm
name.
forgetting her
I
name.
apologize for that. But she came back. She thought all she needed was a voice for the girl to like her. She got a voice. The girl could give two shits.
Right.
Was
Yeah,
the little girl the villain of the movie? I don't know. I'm so confused on this. The way the toys interacted with the parents, without the parents really knowing it,
yeah,
driving the car or the
Right.
camper, that cracked me up too. As somebody that's driven a camper through a campground, not knowing what the fuck I'm doing, that is my absolute nightmare. Is that my camper starts fucking up, because I could see myself doing that very thing. But yeah, Toy Story 4 to me, Lotso, my favorite villain in this franchise. One of my favorite villains in all Pixar, by the way.
Yeah.
yeah. He's pretty
But
good.
yeah, I'm gonna go with 4. I think I'm gonna lose this one, which I understand, but I'm going with 4.
I'm thinking. So I'm very torn here because, like, I think Toy Story 4 did a really good job because, like, I think so the whole thing with like the Toy Story franchise was like Woody's kind of like the guy in the first one. Buzz shows up, he gets jealous, whatever, and then they become friends and realize, oh, we could do this together, or whatever. And like pretty much throughout the entire series up until 4, he's still kind of the guy. And then he goes to a completely different house and he's kind of irrelevant. And like it was cool to see like this grown up version of Woody like try to find purpose,
Hmm.
whatever, and like him finding that purpose was really satisfying. Because like throughout the entire series, he's like gun ho on like, oh, kids need a owner, toys need a owner, like toys should be with a kid, or like we're there to like make kids happy, whatever. But like,
Loyalty,
yeah, like loyalty, right? But Woody never
loyalty,
got, huh?
loyalty.
Loyalty, right? um, but like Woody never really throughout the series like his happiness is always like done through other people, but then like when a kid doesn't love him, you kind of see him start going into like an identity crisis, whatever, and he has to kind of find happiness for himself, and like that's when he like runs into like Bo and all that stuff. But like I think they did a really good job of wrapping up his arc.
Yep.
But I'm going with Toy Story 3. Just more so because I think that as great as Toy Story 4 was and as awesome as it is that sets up all these little things, I think Toy Story 3, I think like the whole Andy storyline and like watching him grow up and then watching him go to college and then pass these toys on that he loved and that we loved like to somebody else, it was almost like a like, oh, we're growing up too,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And like I think it did like that Andy storyline always like makes me I'm more attached to it.
Yeah.
Like Toy Story 4 was not made for me. I still enjoyed it and it was still an incredible movie, but that wasn't made for me. You know what I mean? Toy Story 4 was made for the new generation. You know what I mean? Like they're growing up with Toy Story 4 and they're probably gonna have a 4, 5, and 6. And they're going to probably connect with that more than like I did with 1, 2, and 3. So, but I think I'm gonna go with Toy Story 3.
Yeah, I think the nice thing about 4 was basically you had 3 movies before that where, like you said, Woody was the leader and was really
Yeah,
concerned about the group and, getting what's best for everybody in the group. And then in Toy Story 4, it kind of pivoted to what would make him happy and what would be best for just him.
exactly.
So, yeah, it was a nice close to his arc for sure. But Toy Story
What's up,
3,
Hydra?
moving on. All right, next play-in matchup, Battle of the Findings. Finding
Okay,
Nemo against Finding Dory.
Finding Nemo, easy, easy, easy. This ain't even close. Finding Nemo, hot take. Well, I don't even know if this is a hot take. Finding Nemo is my favorite Pixar movie.
Okay.
Is my favorite Pixar movie. Um, Finding Dory is good.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people shit on Finding Dory a lot more than they should. I think Finding Dory was very charming. I think Finding Dory, I think a lot of people dislike Finding Dory because a lot of people aren't big fans of Dory, like as a character. But I think Finding Dory had a lot of charm, and like it gave her a lot of like it gave her a lot of good stuff. You know what I mean? And like I think I just think that Finding Nemo is just a lot more iconic. And
Sure.
like I don't really think they needed like there's some movies you can understand why there's a sequel.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand why Finding Dory exists. It's a good movie, but it didn't need to happen. Like it didn't need to happen.
Sure.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
dark, like yeah, like,
That's any of these, though.
yeah, but like Toy Story 1, 2, and 3 and 4 all kind of make like the story all like not that Finding Dory doesn't make sense,
Mm-hmm.
but like they waited like 14 years to release it. Like like we're gonna run into another sequel that does make sense, but they took way too long as well.
Mm-hmm.
And that's probably gonna be the fucking next one that we do. But yeah, Finding Nemo, easy.
Duckman.
Oh boy, howdy! You said this movie gets shit on, and it probably shouldn't. Well, get some toilet paper, buddy.
Mm-hmm.
Finding Dory sucked. It sucked. Some characters are funny sidekicks, and we want to see how they do in their own movies. Some characters are funny sidekicks, and they need to stay funny sidekicks.
Yeah.
Dory is that character. It sucked. God, they took everything that was fun about Dory, and they're like, you know what? Let's just throw it all at you, and it did not work at all. I can quote another movie about this, but it's not appropriate, and I'm not going to put it in there. I'll tell it to you later if you remind me. But it's just I didn't enjoy it. It wasn't fun. It wasn't charming. It was a pretty movie, but
I
the
think
advances in
was
technology, I think Finding Nemo was still prettier.
Mm-hmm.
I rooted for Nemo. I rooted for his
Marlon.
God damn it. I rooted for Marlin.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't find myself like, you know what? We need Dory to win. We need Dory and this
I
ragtag
was
goofy characters to
absolutely.
win.
I didn't care about the ragtag goofy characters. I wanted her
Fish,
to be with her parents again, man. Like,
fish are friends. I
Well,
didn't want that.
but see, I
And
was
and I know,
fine with Dory in the movie. My issue was like with Finding Nemo. It was Nemo was trapped. He had a side quest and doing all his things while Marlin and Dory were coming to get him. And in Finding
so it was the
Dory,
side shit that annoyed you a little
in
bit.
Finding Dory, it was not even really about Dory because I think the best parts of Dory's story in her own movie was Hank and Hank the
Yeah,
octopus. And
was
he kind of
pretty
like
great.
stole the story and the show for me
A little
in
bit.
that movie. So I'm with you with the Finding Nemo advancing.
So we're in agreement.
I think, yeah, it's unanimous with the fan
Unanimous.
vote too. But
I mean, I didn't officially say Finding Nemo, but yeah, I bet I guess you can figure
yeah,
it out by my
was
review.
pretty sure.
Yeah.
We're gonna get into it too because this is another. This was another case where Pixar, especially Pixar, it happens in Disney too, but especially Pixar, they give like you're talking about like the goofy B character its own sequel, and it's
Yeah.
really not great. And we'll get into that with the Cars series coming up here in a couple. But
Oh boy.
next up is a battle of The Incredibles versus Incredibles 2.
Okay. I think this is another case where the sequel isn't as bad as a lot of people say it is.
Mm-hmm.
It is really cool to see Elastigirl actually get her time to shine. The problem with Incredibles 2 was the antagonist. They were fucking lame. They were so lame. Like, if they would have found a better antagonist, this movie would have been a lot better. I think the action was really cool. I think, like, seeing Mr. Incredible have to do what, like, Elastigirl's been doing all these years,
Right.
which is, like, kind of be a parent.
Dad
like,
mode, yeah.
like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, be like a dad, whatever. It was like actually kind of refreshing to see. Seeing Violet and Dash have to like save the day to save their parents was pretty cool. But like, I think the villain was just so lame. And like, I think another issue with this movie is that again, and I touched upon this before, they waited so long to put this out. Incredibles 1 came out in like 2004. This came out in like 2016. Like, I would have cared. Like, I still saw it. Don't get me wrong. But like, I think Kid Mark would have appreciated this a little bit more than Adult Mark. like, yeah. I'm giving it to Incredibles 1, but I don't think the difference between Incredibles 1 and 2 is as big as it is between Nemo and Dory.
I would agree with that. I honestly, this is a coin toss for me.
Oh, Jack was great too. Jack, I'm looking at these clips.
Like,
Jack was incredible.
To your point, I think Syndrome is fantastic in the first movie, whereas in the second movie the villains aren't as strong. But I kind of like the storyline of the second movie better because the first movie is kind of it's like the origin story. It's the kids discovering that they have the powers and how they use them and learning how to hone it in. Whereas in the second movie, they all know that they have superpowers. They all know how to use them, and they're all using those superpowers to fight this villain. So I could really go either way on this one.
Yeah, I could see that. I could definitely see that.
So I rewatched both these movies recently for this because it's been a while since I've watched The Incredibles.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of boring.
Both of them?
In general,
the original Incredibles was kind of boring. It was very slow paced, and I understand it's an origin story.
Yeah.
And you have to figure, but Incredible. This might not. This is not one of the ones that I have projected to go far in the brackets.
Really?
Also fair.
Incredibles is a lot of people's favorite.
I know, and I wanted to.
I think it's tad overrated. But it's still very good.
Incredibles to me has some of the best side characters in
Yeah.
all of Pixar.
Yeah.
The Frozone's
Frozone.
hilarious.
Yeah.
Where's my super suit?
Edna's pretty
Edna
great
cracks
too.
me up.
Yeah.
No
Edna's-
capes. No capes
Yeah.
is something I still say all the time. No capes.
Mhm.
I think it's hilarious. Syndrome saves Incredibles for me
Yeah.
because I find Mr. Incredible kind of. I don't know if he was miscast or I didn't enjoy him as a hero as much.
I'm not a big
Um,
fan of super strength as a power. I think it's
and
very lame.
I think it can be used, but I didn't enjoy it.
It's never
I enjoy
used
the movie.
creatively.
I don't want to say that, but Incredibles 1 was kind of boring. Incredibles 2 was action packed. It had a great story, but like you guys said, the villain, and they could have went so perfect with it. Like he was right there, ready to be a fantastic villain, sort of villain,
Yeah.
but he was missing something. I don't know what it was.
Yeah,
He
what it
He
is?
didn't need a
She was
superpower.
missing
It
the
was perfect.
she was missing the charisma.
Hmm.
She was
Yeah,
missing the charisma. Like,
Like,
Syndrome.
That's
I
what I'm
had
saying.
the
If Syndrome was in Incredibles 2, that would have been a
Like,
fantastic movie.
if you put the charisma of Syndrome in this villain that they had, because it was a good concept. It's
Yeah.
not like it was a bad concept. It's just the villain herself felt really, really
Hmm.
like, and then like, yeah,
So this was hard for me because Incredibles 2, to me, I think was a funner movie, but
Mhm.
Incredibles 1, the characters were a little better.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with damn it, because I really like Syndrome. I'm gonna go with Incredibles 2.
oh
I think
my,
I think the I think the Jack stuff
Yeah, Jack
you know,
and the
saves it for
raccoon
me.
really
Yeah,
carried that
Jack
movie.
and the raccoon.
Nom
It
Nom
did so
Cookie.
much.
Hmm.
And where Edna was training him how to use Jack,
oh yeah,
for lack of
Edna
better
like
terms.
Edna
I was in,
babysitting and like,
Yeah.
and then watching Jack walk around like Edna.
Yep.
I was in stitches. We're gonna go with it on that. This is a toss up for me too.
oh man,
Where
okay,
where
yeah, it's
Incredibles
up to
2
you.
lacked, Incredibles 1 lacked, or didn't,
Yeah.
or excelled, and vice versa. But to me, like together, this would be a good movie.
Right.
But separately, I'm just like, it's weaker. I can watch it. Like I'm not gonna turn it off if it's on my TV. But if there's something
Well, you
else
guys
on,
also
I'm watching
like
something else. I'm not switching.
Yeah.
you guys also have to like take into consideration like a lot of Incredibles 1, like they like it's a really smart storyline as far as like superheroes who were like idolized by society now with like the drop of a dime have to be normal people, and that's a really cool story.
Hmm.
And I think that's why I also like lean towards Incredibles 1, because it's like you're watching these people who are revered as gods like for their entire life now have to hide what makes them special, whatever. And it's like, and like their kids who have superpowers, like up to that point, never experienced that kind of like that kind of high that like Mr. Incredible and like Elastigirl and Frozen had experienced, whatever. So like it's like explaining like something to like it's like explaining what a VHS is to like
Right.
a kid born in like 2017.
Right.
It's like you just had to be there, you know. So like I think one had the smarter story.
Okay, so you're going with 1.
I'm going with 1.
All right. I'm going to go with Darkwing on Incredibles 2. Like I said, it's a coin toss for me, but it's not going to matter cuz we said the tiebreaker is going to go to the fan vote, and the fans went with Incredibles 1. So that's what's going to advance here to the official bracket. So now we have the Battle of Monsters. Monsters Inc. against Monsters University. And I think this is another fairly easy one.
Yeah, so when it comes, yes, it's Monsters Inc. Like I don't, out of all the Disney sequels and prequels, this is the biggest difference in quality, in my opinion.
Mhm.
Monsters Inc. and Monsters University was not a bad movie, but it was very fine. It was so okay. It was so okay. Like, it's Monsters Inc. And I don't think it's particularly close. This one's
Duxie's
really hard to
devastated
pronounce.
by that.
Hydro
Oh,
saying Monsters University as well. Well, how? Wait a minute. What's going on here? Am I missing
oh my
something?
God. My heart hurts right now. My heart hurts.
You're a big
Um,
college guy. You're a big college guy.
my heart hurts. Um,
You miss college, don't you?
so absolutely. So before we start, I'm gonna pick Monsters Inc. I think it was a better
Okay.
movie. So we're gonna start with that. But it was not nearly as far away as you said. You make it sound.
Monsters University was not that great.
This was incredibly difficult. Monsters University to me was the Disney version of Revenge of the Nerds, and I loved it. Um, it was Revenge of the Nerds was a movie, Mark, that made back in the late '80s
Yeah, no.
about college life.
I've heard of it.
Um,
I haven't watched it, but I've heard of it.
um, it was a phenomenal concept. It was new in its time about how the nerdy fraternity comes back and takes over the campus and wins these games. Monsters University was 100% a ripoff of that. If it wasn't, if they didn't see Revenge of the Nerds, then I will eat a hat. Like there's no way they didn't get that concept from this. The only thing lacking to me in Monsters University was a good, solid antagonist. Um, Villain. Did I say
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did
Yeah.
I say that right? I think I did.
Antagonist, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I was missing that. The fraternity they were facing off at. I mean, they were just likable, but they weren't like, I hate you. I don't want to face this. So I'm gonna place Monsters Inc. over it.
Mhm.
While Randall was good, Mr. Waterloo being the bad guy.
Oh,
at the
yeah.
end, oh,
Yeah.
That twist.
So good.
damn you, Pixar, you got me.
Mhm.
You
That
got
was
me
one of
good.
the
And
that
Boo. Mhm.
that is one of the best like twist villains, like because you don't see it, like you do not see it coming. Mr. Waternoose actually seems like a guy
Yeah.
who genuinely cares about Sully,
Mhm.
whatever.
And,
So like
and
when
when they
that
got
happens, it's like, oh, dude,
and when they got banished to the abominable snowman, I
Yeah.
was like, yes.
Yeah.
He's like, have a
welcome
snow
to the
cone. Have a
Himalayas.
snow cone.
Yep.
It was fantastic.
Don't worry, it's lemon.
So yeah,
Mhm.
it's a lot closer than Mark made it seem. I really liked Monsters University. It hurts me that he described it so bad.
No. Here's
I will
anything.
pick Monsters Inc.
Listen, the relationship between Boo and Sully is better than anything in Monsters University. Anything.
I think Monsters University was fine. The only
Exactly.
thing the
Not bad.
storyline was pretty good. What was hard for me to like about Monsters University is that it was forced into being a prequel, and they
Yeah.
kept trying to force in these connections to how it all was going to make sense for Monsters Inc. And I don't think that really
Yeah.
worked. And they were kind of making like Mike and Sully adversaries going against each other, competing against each other the entire time. So
Yeah.
I got what they were trying to do, but I just wasn't a fan of it. But that's it.
Yeah, it's like
The fan vote was split, but it's still going to be 3-0 for Monsters Inc.
Split.
going on.
well, wow.
All right, we got our last play-ins here of the Pixar bracket because it's a 3-movie triangle. The top seeded of the 3 movies, which is just original Cars, gets a bye. So we've got Cars 2 against Cars 3.
So
Easy for me.
I haven't seen either. So from what I hear, Cars 2 is fucking hot garbage.
Yes.
I hear
Cars. So
Cars
I
3,
can explain
I
it.
hear
So
Cars 3 is a decent conclusion.
So Cars 2 is basically just like a Mater story. It's all about Mater and his secret agent car. That's pretty much all it is. And Cars 3 is kind of like the Toy Story 3 of this franchise, where it's years later and it's how they've evolved since the first movies came out, which I think is a far better story.
I'll go with whatever you guys want me to vote, but I mean, like, if I always hear Cars 2 is trash, so
Yeah. And see, and Hydro's opinion there in chat, I hear all the time, is that I've never seen Cars 3 because Cars 2 was so bad. Like, that's how bad Cars 2 was. It deterred people from going on to the next movie in the franchise.
Do yourself a favor, watch Cars 3.
Yeah.
Cars 3 is a fun movie. I enjoyed Cars 3. I enjoyed the. We'll get into this when we actually face off. I'm gonna vote Cars 3. Cars 2 was shit. It was everything I didn't like about Dory in a Cars movie.
Exactly. Yeah. 100%. It's the exact same thing. It's the
I don't know if
B
we need
character
to hold on to
got
this.
their own movie and it made no sense.
Nope.
All right, so that's easily Cars 3.
It's a hot
Moving
take,
on. So
Hydro.
Cars 3 against Cars. What do you got?
I mean, I'm going to go with the movie I've seen, Cars.
That's fair. I can't argue with that logic.
I mean, Cars. So I actually watched Cars relatively recently, like for the first time. I liked it. Hydra, for you to say it's your favorite Pixar movies, I don't know. That's like, it was good. It was good. Oh, loser, we're just in the plan, buddy. We're just in the plan. We haven't even started the bracket yet.
Yeah, Cars 3 versus Car 2 was still going as the poll.
Yeah, I don't know how to turn the poll off, so we're just gonna wait on that.
It's
I'll
done
get that
now.
up in a minute. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think like Cars. It was good. Like I like that. Like I like the. I'm always a big fan of like a jerk, kind of being like humbled.
Yeah.
Whatever, and having to like.
He wasn't.
Like what do you mean he wasn't?
I guess Lightning was. Never mind. I'm sorry.
Lightning was a
Yeah,
jerk.
that's what he's talking about.
I was thinking of what's his name?
Hudson.
No.
What's his name?
You talking about the blue guy?
No, the green guy.
No.
The guy he's against the whole time.
Oh, I forgot his name.
God, what is his name?
He stinks. He was such an annoying antagonist. No, but it was nice to see Lightning McQueen get like humbled, and like actually like learning a lesson, you know, because he's kind of unbearable in the beginning, and like, yeah, I mean, I don't really have a lot to say about Cars if I'm being honest. Like, it's not like out of the Pixar movies I've seen, it's not a bad Pixar movie by any means.
Sure.
But it is what it is, and I have nothing to say about Cars 3 because I've never seen it. So I'm gonna defer to Cars 1. I'm gonna defer to you guys to talk about this stuff. I'm gonna run to the bathroom real quick.
I enjoyed both. I thought it was kind of interesting because Cars 3, like I said, it's kind of like the Toy Story 3 of this franchise where essentially Lightning McQueen becomes Doc Hudson. He takes over that kind of role for the new rookie. But yeah, Cars, I think the original Cars is just too iconic. I think that's the easy choice for me here.
I'm still here. I'm just changing my camera real quick.
This is another hard one for. Oh, look, you got me in the Andy Mark.
I know.
Show.
Now you're the Andy Mark show. Congratulations, you got promoted.
Hey,
I know. Started from zero, got nothing to lose. All right, so before I really get into this, I really enjoyed how a bunch of NASCAR people embraced this franchise, and a bunch of race car people in general embraced it. Like, there was a lot of people that showed up for this, between Richard Petty, Chase Elliott, Kyle Petty, Waltrip was in it, Jeff Gordon was in it. I think Paul Newman was Doc Hudson, right? Like,
yeah.
Paul Newman obviously not just NASCAR, but you know what I mean. There was a lot of great talent that was in these movies. I think Wayne Gretzky was awesome. No, he wasn't in it. They just compared to Wayne Gretzky or something. I think there's something about Wayne. I remember it. I'm gonna go with Cars 3.
Okay.
I really liked that. I really liked that Lightning was on top for so long, doing so good, and then like any other sport, they figured out a way around it, like golf tiger-proofed courses. And then eventually they figured out a way to beat the best car. They got these aerodynamic pieces of artwork that made it good.
Mm-hmm.
And was it Jackson Storm? I think. Was the villain?
Yeah.
He was fun. He was fun the way he just dominated, but did it so kind of like
Yeah.
smirkily, like, good job, buddy. And I really liked the scene when Cruz took him to the racetrack in the dirt.
Yeah.
I liked that. I liked how he went back to meet Doc Hudson's old people, and
Right.
then they kind of did a retread of the first one where he was seeing what he saw in the first one.
Right.
I think she was a more likable character as a racer, and I enjoyed him in the Doc Hudson role.
Yeah.
The first movie was fun. But I do enjoy the third one the most of it. I feel like it was a good closeout to it. It was a great finale. The second one was hot shit. Like,
Yeah,
it was bad.
Yeah, that was not good at all.
We got into that. I don't enjoy Mater as a character. I never did. So the less Mater, the better. There was not a lot of Mater in Cars 3. I'm happy about that. So yeah, that's where I'm at. Cars 3 for me is the pick.
Okay. Well, I think, with the fan vote, that's 3-1 OG Cars. So that's going to be the one advancing to the whole bracket. Let me just double check.
Yeah.
Make sure I've updated.
Figured
all
I might be in
these.
trouble with that one too.
That was that one. Okay. So we have our final 16 now for the PIXAR bracket. All right. Next up.
Mark, you are muted, so you know.
Yeah, I have to like charge my phone for a little
There we
bit,
go.
but I'm still here. Yeah, I'm back.
Gotcha.
Danny Marks
about
is back where he's supposed to be.
Okay. We've got Bronze Renaissance. One play-in matchup, and it's the Rescuers against the Rescuers Down Under.
Interesting.
Not that interesting.
I'm going. I like a sequel versus I'm going with Rescuers Down Under.
Okay.
I think it had a better villain. I think the storyline with the kid like being like kind of like at the what wasn't he like kidnapped or some shit? No. Yeah, he was.
That's the first
I think
one.
he was
The
with,
first one, they were kidnapped.
what?
Down Under
It was
is
Poacher,
the
right?
kid was fighting the poacher,
with, like,
and he also got kidnapped.
Okay, so he did get kidnapped. Okay,
But it switched to a boy, and then there was the giant golden eagle.
the eagle, right? I think the poacher is a better villain.
Yep.
I think the kid has more personality than the original girl.
Yep.
I think. I also like my issues with the original Rescuers is that Bernard and Miss Cleo. Yeah, I think that's what her name is. I didn't. They didn't have a ton of personality in the original one.
Oh, Bianca.
I feel like
It's
they
Miss
kind of
Bianca. That's what it is.
Miss Bianca. I feel like the personality was kind of bumped up a little bit in the second one, and like the Australian mouse was also a nice little touch.
Right.
And also the setting for the first one was really boring. Like it was cool when they were in New York, but then when they got to the swamp, it's like, ugh, this stinks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going with Down Under.
I am going to second Down Under. First off, John Candy in these movies was kind of funny.
Yeah.
I heard the voice. I was like, "That's John Candy," and I even Googled it to make sure. I was like, "Hey, it's John Candy."
Yep.
Sorry, John Candy sighting made me happy.
Yeah. He only appears as the bird in Rescuers Down Under, which is why
that's it.
gives me the edge there for that one. That's pretty easy.
I'm glad.
I was
I'm
like,
glad we
as
have
soon
it
as I
for-
heard John Candy, I was like, well, this is over. That's it.
But that was just a weird sighting to be in that movie. The add-in of the the Australian mouse was just fucking amazing.
Yeah.
He was a good character that made me smile.
The third wheel, yeah.
I don't know how long this movie is gonna last in the bracket.
It's
This
not
is
gonna
like
last long.
Yeah,
but
no.
this
it's
is
good.
like
It has
yeah,
heart.
yeah, this is like Montana making the tournament. Like,
Mhm.
good job, Montana, you
You
did
did
it.
Yeah.
You're going up against somebody next round, and it's gonna suck for you.
Yep.
But I'm going down under. I mean, if they make it further, good for them. I don't see it happening unless
Right.
they take on like Notre Dame. But we'll see.
Exactly.
Hey, wait a minute.
All right, so that was the only one for that region. It's 4-0. Rescuers Down Under with the fan vote. So that was
Okay.
pretty easy. And I already said the gold to bronze was all set. So Experimental Revival is the one that we have still to go for the play-ins. And the first play-in matchup there is Frozen against Frozen 2.
No!
You could do it. It's fine. It's fine.
No,
do you want-
you're
do you want me
not
to-
doing this to me.
I am doing it.
Do you
to
want me to start?
Yeah,
Would you
go
like me
ahead.
to start?
Go ahead.
Frozen 2 was shit.
Wow.
I'll say it again. I hated Frozen 2. Oh, I wanted to fucking slap her. Like, I was over that song. My favorite part of Frozen 2 was Olaf talking about Frozen 1. That was the only good part for me. Frozen 1 was so good. We had great characters. We had the biggest swerve ever in Disney. I will say this. Biggest swerve ever. Like, I wanted her to be with Hans, or with Kristoff when I saw their little relationship. I was like, oh, I wanted to be with Kristoff, not Hans. But Hans, they got married, and you can marry somebody you just met, right? Prove it wrong. And then he's like, now you got to find somebody that loves you. I was like, you dick! Like, I wanted to kill him. I wanted to murder this man. It was so good. I loved it. And the ending where she to heal a broken heart with true love, her sister hugging her, not
Yep.
Kristoff coming in and like, I'm
Yeah.
in love with you. No, her
No?
sister.
Yeah.
Dude, it was perfection. Perfection. Frozen 2, brrr. Frozen 1, I pick Frozen 1.
So here's the thing. Right? Is that Frozen 1 is an incredible movie, right? Like, we're talking about the difference of like a 1A versus 1B. Like, the winner of this matchup could very well win the whole thing, right? So, like, the thing about Frozen 2 that was so great is that a lot of times with sequels, there's things that happen in the first movie that don't really play a factor in the character's arc in the second movie. And the thing that made Frozen 2 so great is that all that pent up emotion and just bullshit that they had to deal with as a kid was very much prevalent in Frozen 2.
Mm-hmm.
All of the isolation issues that Anna had to deal with, all the fear of not wanting to hurt people around her that Elsa had to deal with, and her, like, because, like, and I said this in my review, in the first movie, Elsa's big thing is learning how to, like, be proud of her powers and be okay with having powers and not being afraid of hurting people with her powers, and like her embracing that. And I feel like Frozen 2 was, okay, how do I use these powers for purpose? And Elsa, because, like, if you really think about it, like, now that I've seen both of
Damn
them,
loser.
like, Frozen 1 and Frozen 2 feel like they need each other, right? Like, Frozen 1, like, it had, like, you could have easily ended it there if you really wanted to, but, like, seeing Elsa, like, you could say the singing is annoying, whatever, but, like, seeing her cross that fucking dark sea and get to that glacier and finding out that it was her mom singing to her the whole time, and that the purpose that she was always looking for, like, she had it all along, and that she was the one who was supposed to be saving these people in this forest. And then you want to talk about twists. The fact that their fucking grandfather is the reason why this forest is in the fog to begin with, and that this kingdom that is supposed to be built on peace and love was actually built on violence and blood because their grandfather decided to betray these people because they had magic. Brilliant. Frozen 2, I think, is the better, smarter story. Frozen 1 is great. Don't get me wrong. Frozen 1 is incredible.
Yeah.
But I think Frozen 2 did an excellent job of building upon what Frozen 1 set up and also expanding upon it. In Anna's story too, because we hear a lot about Elsa's journey of discovery or whatever. That song when Anna's in that cave alone, when she doesn't have Olaf, she doesn't have Elsa, and she doesn't have Kristoff, and she has to figure out what she has to do to kind of move on. What's it called? Like the next right thing. Like, brilliant. I'm going with Frozen 2.
I'm also going with Frozen 2. And the reason I like Frozen 2...
Steve, can you do me a favor real quick? Can you move the name to the top of my box instead of the bottom so I can
It's
sit
just
down
a
like
picture. I can't adjust it.
Okay. No worries.
I can adjust you. Like I can move you up.
My family sings the songs from 2 more than 1, and I think they really are close with coin flip. Yeah, and I think the songs are better in 2 as well. Like 1, I think, has the more iconic songs, but I think overall the songs in 2 are way better. Like, and I don't like Lost in the Woods, bro. You have a power ballad in Frozen.
Yeah, it's better.
Is that better for you?
That way I can sit up a little bit, but I don't have to like sit up the whole time.
Yeah.
My bad.
You have a power ballad in Frozen, a power ballad. Like Lost in the Frozen 2. Like Frozen 1 is a near perfect.
Do you want to build a snowman?
Lost in the Woods.
But they're both really good. The reason I like 2 is because they tell you the story of how the whole kingdom came to be and the powers came to be.
Yeah.
Like a prequel without forcing it to be a prequel. It was still an evolution of the story without going backwards.
Darkwing, what's the most intriguing part about Frozen?
Intriguing? It's so good, man.
No. In general, when you think of Frozen, what's the first thing you think of?
First thing I think of, the characters.
Yeah.
Okay. Second,
that stupid ass song.
Okay, what I'm getting at is that a lot of people first.
Got it.
No. What I'm getting at is a lot of people's when they first think of Frozen, they think of ice powers, right? You don't really get any explanation about that in Frozen 1. You get all the explanation of why that is to be and why it is so important in the second one. That's why I like Frozen 2 a little bit more as well.
I mean,
because she just inexplicably has ice powers.
I'm okay with it.
I'm fine with that as well. I think what's difficult for me between these two is, or again, what gives me the edge for 2 compared to 1. With Disney animation, there was this slump for so long of just horrible misses through the early 2000s, and Frozen kind of changed the narrative about the whole Disney animation scene.
Yeah, it was
early 2010s.
Yeah, it was like Tangled, Frozen, and Princess and the Frog a little bit before that. But those were the 3 that really
But it was so good and set the bar so high that it would be very easy for Frozen 2 to fail. And the fact that I feel like it at least matched it, if not surpassed it, to me, is what put it over the top.
But a hot take though, I think Frozen set the bar, but I think it was passed a few times after Frozen. I don't think Frozen's better than Moana. I don't. So that might be a hot take, but yeah. But Frozen 2 for me. Steve, you said Frozen 2?
Yes.
Fun fact: Frozen, two different things at Disney World. They have one at Hollywood Studios and one at Epcot. Both fantastic attractions. One of them goes
I've
through the
been to the
Frozen
one at
movie.
Hollywood Studios.
The one it's so much fun doing the sing
Yeah.
along. Whether
Yeah.
it doesn't, it's so good. If you have kids or if you're just a nerd like me, go to the sing along at Hollywood Studios. So much fun. Frozen the ride is located in Epcot, Experimental Prototype Community of Tomorrow. For those of you wanting to know, it's over in the Norway section. It's a boat ride. It is so fucking pretty. Like the animatronics are on steroids in this ride. It's so good. If you get a chance to do it, go do it. There we go. I'm gonna let
Nice.
this go.
Nice. All right,
I like
next up
that.
we've got the Battle of the Ralphs. Wreck-It Ralph against Ralph Breaks the Internet.
Okay. Hot take. Hot take. Breaks the internet. Breaks the internet.
It's not a hot take. It's because it's ranked higher. But just barely.
Like, I think, well, actually, I've been starting a lot of these off. I'm sorry. If one of you guys want to start doing
it's your show.
Your show, bro.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really worried about it.
I think Breaks the Internet.
Yes,
wait,
loser,
2 did
2-1.
win, right, Steve?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think Breaks the Internet does a good job of building upon what we got in the first one, right? Because I did both of these very recently in my reviews, so they're kind of still fresh. Wreck-It Ralph is an incredible movie. Do not get me wrong. I feel like there's a couple things that set two apart. Number one, I feel like Vanellope is very insufferable in the first one, a little bit. Like, just a tad. She's a little bit too much. Very charming character towards the end, but in general, she's kind of annoying for, like, most of the movie. I feel like what is cool about 2 is that, like, a lot of people think that this is Ralph's movie. It's really about Vanellope and how she kind of matures. And Ralph's reaction to seeing his friend grow and, like, the possibility that, like, he may not be able to always be in her life. And, like, I thought the storyline of, like, because it's so relatable, right? Like, think about, like, a best friend that you had that you would talk to and see all the time. And then they have, like, this big opportunity, whether it be a job, whether it be college, whether it be, like, they're getting married, whatever, and, like, you do not see them anymore, whatever. And it's like, think about how much that hurts at the time, but think about how happy you are for them, whatever. And, like, Ralph learning to deal with this, because Ralph in the first movie got nothing that he wanted until the very end. And now Ralph has everything he wants, like he's ever wanted, and he doesn't want anything to change. And he has to deal with something changing that is out of his control. And I thought that was done so brilliantly. So I'm going with Ralph Breaks the Internet.
I had a good time with these movies. 2 of my favorite movies. The cast is fantastic. For as much as Sarah Silverman, I can only take her in small doses as far as her comedy goes.
Yeah.
I love her on roast. I hate her watching her stand up. But to me, like about 10, 15 minutes of Sarah Silverman is about as much as I can stand. John C. Reilly as Ralph is an interesting choice that works.
Yeah.
Which I wouldn't see happening. John C. Reilly to me is a good side character. I didn't think he'd be a good main character, but here he is. He did really well.
I think that's what makes it so brilliant, right? Because he was really kind of the side character in his universe, right? Like,
and God, who played Fix It Felix? It's
I don't know. I don't really know
actors. Is it McBrayer?
Yeah, Jack McBrayer.
Yes, he was so funny too. I really liked them both. They were really two great movies. The Internet.
I'm gonna get a better charger real quick, but I'm still listening.
The Internet one had some great scenes, like the pop-up ads cracked me up. The eBay stuff cracked me up.
Yep.
The princesses were just funny as shit. The first one had some fun scenes too, like watching the Villains Anonymous or whatever that thing was. How great was that? Seeing all those villains there with Zangief, especially after watching that Street Fighter movie that we watched recently on movie night. I really
Seeing
liked it.
Bowser just fucking chilling with Eggman next to him.
Right.
Yeah. It was so funny. Um, I did like the I did like the villain in the first one more.
Hmm.
To me,
Well, we
the
didn't
toss
really
up.
have a villain in the second one. It was
I,
more like Ralph's insecurities.
Yeah.
yeah,
Like
yeah. Me and
it was
Ralph
more
was
of a
almost the
person.
villain.
Yeah, it was
But,
almost. Well, he was technically like the final boss is a giant Ralph. Like
yeah.
it's a virus.
Yep.
But I'm gonna go with the first one. Um,
I
to me the
respect
first
it.
one. To me the first one just had a little more direction, a little more like this is the end game. This is what we're going for.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the token was the big thing he had to get. The king was hilarious to me. He was just
Ooh,
King
have some
Candy.
so good.
candy.
Yeah.
King
Have
Candy,
some
that's what it was.
candy.
He was great. Um,
And then
yeah, but neither is a bad movie. Don't get me
yeah,
wrong. I love them both.
I loved that. I'm also going to go with the first one, and it's going to end up moving on. I loved that the villain, because it was kind of similar in the fact that the second movie was all Ralph was basically the villain, and in the first movie, the villain King Candy was doing everything that Ralph was trying to do. Left
Yeah,
his game, wanted to be better than what he was in his original game, and kind of like changed
yeah.
his
He's
own
kind of a
story and narrative.
reflection.
Yeah.
He's kind of a reflection.
So I like that aspect of it. I also am going with Wreck-It Ralph.
I'm okay with that.
We can't sleep on the princess scene though. That was hilarious. Where they're
Yes.
That
like,
was great.
were you put to sleep? Did this happen to you?" I was in tears. It was so good. Both good movies. Like
Yeah.
to me, that's not. I'm shitting on one, and I don't. That
Yeah,
was a legitimately hard one for me.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna go with that too. So
yeah. I'm 100% okay with that. That's fine.
Okay, so now we have gone through all of the sequels, narrowed down all the franchises. So now all that's left is we have 2 play-in matches in this region of the bracket. And the reason is Mark rated a couple movies into his top 30 higher than the general consensus in this
Oh,
era. So, our first play-in matchup for a shot in the final bracket is Meet the Robinsons against Chicken Little.
talk about this is like
how did we get here?
this is like
Mark
this
is how
like
we got here.
This is like New Mexico versus like like
This is a true play-in. This is a 16 versus a 16 to decide who gets destroyed by the number 1.
Somebody's gonna
okay.
play North Carolina and just get dunked on repeatedly.
Mm-hmm.
Like
All
it's
right,
gonna be the
so
Globetrotters versus the Wizards.
That's
the
going to be
or the
both of
Warriors,
these, I'm
whatever,
telling you.
next round.
okay, so you guys want me to start this off? Because this is
Sure.
pretty
By all
easy
means.
for me. This is pretty easy for me.
Okay.
I'm going with Meet the Robinsons.
Okay.
I think it had
You
a
would have
lot
been the
more
only
heart.
one that voted for Chicken Little, so this makes this real easy.
I think it had a lot of heart. I think I like the storyline of like, oh, this is your future, right? And like look at how much has changed and stuff like that. And then like him actually interacting with his son the entire time
Mhm.
was really cool. And you're not really figuring that out until the end. And like I love also like how they handled the whole adoption thing so well.
Yeah.
You know, like you don't see a lot of movies addressing adoption and like how hard it is on the kids who are in the home, especially as they get older, because that is a real thing. As kids get older, it is not that easy to get adopted, unfortunately. So like how well they handled that and everything like that was really cool. I thought both of these movies suffer from like what a lot of movies were doing back in that time, which is like a lot of like poo poo fart jokes and shit.
Mhm.
Which I'm not like the biggest fan of. But I think Meet the Robinsons, I think just did it. I think a better job. Chicken Little is fine. Like it's not like it's purely in this because of nostalgia. So like, I'm going with Meet the Robinsons.
This is the night before the tournament, the game that nobody's fucking watching or caring about. I abstain from this vote. To me, I'm like, whatever. I don't care.
Abstain?
These movies are
You have to
fucking. I don't.
vote.
I have to vote. Fucking Meet the
Yes.
Robinsons, fine. They can
Let's
stay in, have a
go.
good
Yeah.
time. I'll, ha-
Let's
I'll,
go.
I'll give Mark his Meet the Robinsons. Let him stay in. Both movies were like, eh. I'm not watching them again. If they're on my
Movie's
TV, I'm
so
probably turning my TV
heartwarming.
off.
Him getting
I
adopted
enjoy
in the
the
end?
music in Meet the Robinsons. I love Goob. I think he's hilarious. One of
Yes,
the
he's such a good character.
one of the better
That
like
meme,
villains in this era. But
that meme
Chicken
of
Little
like
is
him.
actively bad. I can't support Chicken Little being in this bracket at all.
Bob Chicken Little.
All right, and then our
Wait, pull all my
last.
French fries out.
I hate that I had to set up a poll for that. By the way, I hate that you made me put a poll for that fucking thing.
It's a clean sweep. Clean sweep. All right. So our last play-in before the actual bracket: Atlantis,
Okay, I'm
the
nervous
Lost
about this.
Empire against Brother Bear.
Ooh. Huh. They're right. They're. It's funny because in my rankings, I think they're around the same area too.
So I will say this: I'm gonna go with Atlantis simply for Michael J. Fox, and that's it. That's all I got.
He did play. He played Milo, right?
There's my one. He's the main character. So there's my one.
Milo, yeah.
I'm
I
gonna-
think.
Well, let me go because I got a quick take.
Yeah,
I'm
you
gonna
got
go
this.
with Brother Bear because of Rick Moranis and Michael Clark Duncan. For no other reason.
Sure.
Again, this
Same
to
logic
me,
I
this is
used,
like-
so that works just fine.
yeah. I think me and Steve are in the same thing of this. Like, why are we voting on this right now?
Yep.
This is because
I'm
of
gonna
Mark,
say.
so
I'm gonna.
it's your choice,
So
buddy.
I'm actually gonna go with Brother Bear. I think in hindsight, Atlantis got a little bit higher of a ranking than it probably should have. Not that it's a bad movie per se, but like I remember like kind of being bored in the middle. It's a very pretty movie. It's a very pretty movie. I think the storyline of like people trying to colonize a fucking like a like humanity doing what humanity does and trying to colonize a fucking an untapped area because of like their materials and like what they have available to them is so like so on brand. So I thought the storyline was very smart. I think Brother Bear was touching. I think Brother Bear is a really good like journey of like self discovery and like learning to kind of number one, it does a very good job of handling grief and like seeing how much not Coda. What was the brother's name? I forgot his name. Not the brother bear. There's whatever. Seeing the brother
Was it Rut or Kanaya?
Kanea, I think.
That's what it was.
Yeah, I think it was
Off the
Kanea.
top of my head. I'm going
Seeing
through the names of the
Kanea,
characters right now.
seeing Kanea hate bears, then turning into a bear, and seeing his actual little brother actively hunting him throughout the movie, and kind of being the antagonist for up until like the end was very smart. And I also, where else are you gonna get? What was it? I think was it Tina Fey? It was either no, not Tina Fey. What the fuck? I think it was like Aretha Franklin and Phil Collins on this fucking soundtrack. Where else are you gonna see those two names in the same soundtrack? So, I'm gonna go with Brother Bear.
To me, Brother Bear's fine. If it just felt like this was another, they were like, oh hey, we had success with Phil Collins on Tarzan. Let's just do it again. Let's go back
It's
to
also
that well.
It's also super pretty too, man. Look at how pretty. Look at that. Look at that clip right there. That's fucking beautiful. Not the moose. the northern
moose.
lights.
The moose in my hoose.
He's a moose in my hoose. Yeah, I'm going with Brother Bear.
Okay.
So is that.
That. There we go. Okay. So
Not as pretty as Atlantis. Atlantis is very pretty as well. You're absolutely right.
We are over an hour in and we haven't started the real bracket yet, guys. Madness.
I told you,
This is
this is not
madness.
gonna be
Mark
good.
Madness, baby. Mark Madness.
This isn't Mark's super easiness. This is Mark Madness.
Madness indeed. We're gonna start in the PIXAR region, but before we do, you will note I have added a little coin next to your name. These are our Cinderella story coins. All right?
I love a good Cinderella story.
Exactly. It wouldn't be Mark Madness without a Cinderella story. At any point in time in this first round, it's a one and done. You can use your coin to automatically advance a movie into the second round.
Oh my God, is this how we're getting Hunchback in Notre Dame in the second round?
You know it is, but that's going to get rid of one of the coins. So